Hi everyone, welcome to Clutch Entertainment today, and today we'll be talking about how to deal with a ton of different difficult situations. I'm going to talk about how to deal with some people, how to deal with feeling pretty bad or sick or anxious. I'm going to talk about feeling guilty, some tough decisions you got to make, if something happens to someone you know, and also something happens to something you own. So there's a ton of different things that contribute to certain situations, and we all have to find out our own ways to deal with things, but I'm going to give you some tips on some of these things, and hopefully in the end it ends up helping you out overall. So let's go right into it. Starting off with people. When you have to deal with people, everyone has their own demeanor, and you have to figure out at the beginning of a conversation with someone what they're trying to portray towards you. For example, if I'm talking to someone at work, if I'm talking to someone at work, it could be a coworker, it could be a client. So if I'm talking to a coworker, it should be most of the time something like, I'm working with you, I'm trying to get through this, I'm trying to do what we need to do to complete our goal as a company. But if they're angry with you, you got to approach it like, listen, and what are they trying to get towards you? What are they trying to direct to you and try to portray and try to give you? So if you're dealing with, for example, an angry coworker or an angry client, the first thing I would do is take a step back and just listen to what their complaint is. If you listen to what their complaint is, then you'd be able to understand what's going through their mind and approach back after they're done talking. Say something more on the lines of, I'm sorry that happened, or I'm not sure what you're trying to portray to me if you don't understand. Try to get on their level and try to understand exactly where they're coming from. Try to be empathetic towards them. If you can be empathetic towards them, then it'll be more likely that they'll be more receptive and listen to what you have to say. And also, I would say, listen if they're hurt, or if they're something is going on in their lives. Sometimes people portray their emotions through their lives or conversations. So if something's going really wrong in their life, sometimes they take it out on you, which isn't right in the first place. But you have to figure out, and you just have to accept that, maybe they're just having a bad day, or maybe there's just something that they've been really struggling with and they can't deal with. So I would just say, if you're dealing with any kind of person in general, you just want to take a step back, listen to what they have to say, and appropriately act accordingly. Another example is if, say, someone gets mad at you, like in a normal situation, like someone's mad, oh, you talked to this person about me and you were a terrible person. Well, you could say something along the lines as, I know you're upset, I know you're hurt, and I'm sorry if you did it. But you could also say, if you didn't do it, you could say, I'm sorry, I know you're hurt, but is there something I can do to help you? Because I'm not sure what really happened. And always be honest and always tell the truth. Sometimes people just won't accept what you have to say, and you just have to accept they're just not going to listen. So overall, just make yourself a good listener, make yourself a good person to talk to, and a reliable and trustworthy person. So the second thing we're going to talk about is being sick or anxious and how to deal with that. So you want to, first of all, give yourself some slack. Everyone feels bad from time to time. I mean, even myself, I feel bad sometimes, and I don't know, I just feel like I can't take it. I'm just like, this is horrible, especially when you're by yourself. Suffering in silence is the worst that you can go through, I feel like, and it's just really hard, and just most of the time it's just, you got to give yourself some slack. Also, if you're feeling this way, you also want to reach out to, someone for help. We're not all alone on this planet, and it's always good to ask for help. It's also good to, reach out to others and see if they can, help out you, or you can set a plan in motion beforehand and be like, hey, if I don't feel good at a certain time, will you be able to talk, or will you be there for me? Will you help me out? And, most of the time, if you have a really good friend, that'll be someone who you can lean on in those situations. It could be a friend, family, it could be a brother, sister, it could be a friend. or it could be some random stranger that you trust, depending on how long you meet them and interact with them. So I would definitely set a plan in motion also. That way you have that. And then if you have a distraction, so some kind of distraction would be like, I'm going to go watch a TV show, or I'm going to, invest my attention into this thing I'm doing. And if you invest yourself in the situation, you're more likely to get through the situation quicker if you're feeling that way. And there's a saying that's all things pass. And there's a saying, all things pass, nothing lasts forever. And that's completely true. I mean, you could be happy, sad, mad, glad, whatever, and overall, it'll always pass. Like, even if you want it to last forever, it doesn't. It lasts a certain amount of time, however long it's supposed to last, and then you move on to your next emotion in life. And then also, I would say, if you could also pray or meditate, depending on if you're spiritual or if you're religious. So praying and meditating go hand in hand also, because God is on your side and he'll always help you out. And if you give your offerings or sufferings to God, you'll always be able to as Jesus says, his yoke is easy and his burden light. So that means you can always give your sufferings up to the Lord, and he'll always get you through every situation you need to, no matter what it's going to be. So the next thing we're going to talk about is feeling guilty. So when you feel guilty, you always come to yourself and you look yourself in the mirror and you say, man, I did something really wrong. And then you beat yourself up and you have all these negative thoughts, and you're just putting yourself in a bad situation, because you're not going to make it yourself any better by feeling guilty most of the time. But guilt, the only good thing about guilt is it makes you feel that you need to make up something and you need to change something. So guilt can be a very good positive factor. You just don't want it to overwhelm you. So what you can do, the first thing is, don't be too hard on yourself. And if you did something to somebody or someone, I would ask for forgiveness, and that way you'll be able to, feel better after asking for the forgiveness. You could just think about something positive to offset it, like, I messed up on this math test, but, or I didn't study for this math test and I got a bad grade, but, I'm going to work hard the next time. Replace that negative with a positive thought, and that'll definitely help you out too. A good example too of like feeling guilty is, say you end up going to the bank and stole something from the bank, and stole all kinds of money. And you feel really guilty and you're like, man, I shouldn't have robbed that bank, And if you turn yourself in, you'll feel guilty for stealing, but you'll go to the police station. I mean, I know you're not probably going to be happy going to jail, but you'll feel like, yeah, I'm serving my time, I'm doing my punishment. So it's all about accepting, where you're at and what you've done, and how you can make restitution for what you did. So that would be for feeling guilty. Another thing that we deal with in our lives is tough decisions. So tough decisions is something that we go through on a daily basis, whether making a decision to go to work or school, or going to, hang out with somebody, or to make dinner, or to eat out, or relationships or family. All those different things play a part in how we make decisions and where we go in life. And there's a lot of things you got to do in order to, get through that and get to each situation that you need to. So the first thing I would say for like tough decisions is make sure you discern the situation. So if you're in a situation and you want to, like, there's minor decisions and major decisions, but if you're doing like a major decision, you want to play along the part of, thinking about what you plan on doing, like making a plan, or talking to a friend, or spending time with someone else to, get that plan worked out. It's all about, meditating and praying and thinking about seriously what you want to do. And all those things will help you in the long run. But if it's like a quick decision, like say you're just like deciding to make dinner or not, you can just look up some ideas online and type in, oh, would I rather eat healthy with these fish rolls, or would I rather eat some fast food with some chicken tenders? So it's all about, making the right decisions and the right research through thinking about and meditating what you want to do, and also through prayer. Like I said, you can always pray about any kind of situation and decision that you need to do. So another thing I'm going to talk about is when something happens to someone you love. So this is really a big thing that, always occurs to us in our lives. Somebody might get in a car accident. Someone might get seriously ill. Someone might, have like an accident, or someone might do something and trip and fall and scrape their knee. There's a number of different things that people go through in their lives, and we're on the outside, because it's not something that we're suffering with at the moment, but it's someone else suffering. So it's something that we always have to, take a step back on ourselves, and we have to humble ourselves to be able to help others. I would say, like, the first thing you should do is like take a deep breath, center yourself, and be like, okay, like what's going on? What happened? Figure out what happened, and find the appropriate help. If you find the appropriate help, then you'll be able to, help this person or help whoever, something happened to him. But like if there's like a death or something, you won't obviously be able to help overall. It would be best to take care of yourself. So that would be the appropriate help, to help yourself if something happened, like somebody died or something. So it's all about making your help available to yourself. And then I would also say, like, try to talk about like what happened. If you can talk about what happened to somebody, it really helps you, overall get through the situation. Find like a therapist you can go to and talk to your therapist, and after the situation happens, or even talk to the person it happened to. All those different ways really center yourself, and it helps you to release some of the stress that you have when something happens to someone. And the last thing I would say is to accept the situation. If you can accept the situation, where you stand, what happened, that'll help you get through it. And accepting is the hardest part of any kind of situation. Just because like we have to get to that point where we want to do the thing that we want to do, and we got to get to that point where we want to help everybody that we love, but we always can't help everyone. We can't make everyone better. So we just have to accept where they're at and what they're doing. And then the last thing we're going to talk about today is when something happens to something you own. So say someone vandalizes your car and slashes your tire. I mean, obviously nobody's going to be happy about that. First of all, I would say find out the story and ask around what currently happened, what brought me to this point, like what caused this person to do this to me. And if you can figure that out, what caused the person to do that to you, or if they were just doing it as a prank, or if they were just being really rude and didn't like you and they're your enemy, then you can make the appropriate action. So you can act like I was talking about before, when you're like wanting to know what happened to someone you love. In this situation, you want to help yourself. So you want to make sure that you get to the appropriate people to help you. So if someone, like I said, slashed your tire, you want to go to the police station, or you want to give them a call and make them file a police report. Or if you are also at home and you need to go somewhere too, you're going to have to call a tow truck to tow your truck or your car. And that will help you to, get to where you're going to go next, because you're going to need a car. I would say also replace it if it's inexpensive. So say something happens where your child like accidentally drops your video game system controller on the floor and it cracks into a million pieces, which probably won't, or if they break glass. I mean, honestly, it's okay to, be upset about something like that, but it's better to, just take a deep breath, center yourself, like, and make yourself, you know, just take yourself and say, look, this is an item. It's not a person. You know, it's not the same as a person, and you can replace it if it's inexpensive. And then also do some research on the next time you can keep it nice, or how you can get it to where you won't have to worry about this happening again. So overall, I talked about a number of different things that you can deal with difficult situations. And there's a lot of different things in our lives that we go through. And we just have to, you know, find ways to cope with it, find ways to get through it, find ways to, you know, be with friends and family, and to be empathetic towards others, and to get everything that we need in life. Because life is very hard, and there's a lot of things that we can do, and dealing with people and situations overall is the challenge of life. And we always have to get through life, or however many years we're on this earth, until we die. So thank you for watching Clutch Entertainment today, and I appreciate everyone watching. And if you can like and subscribe, that would be great. And also next week, I'll see you in the next video. So thank you very much, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.